Hello, folks, and welcome to Dating Dilemmas Day 13. Today, we are addressing excuse number 2. You are waiting on the fairy tale. So, my name is Joy Walters, and I am your love and law advocate. And what that means is that I practice law in the province of Ontario here in Canada, landlord tenant, small claims, human rights I'm extremely passionate about. Here beside me, in addition to that, of course, I help professional women find love, so I help them to navigate the dating world for dating success. In addition to that, I'm here with my right-hand man, my sidekick, and my husband, Bobby, and he's really here to demonstrate and help with the male perspective on this topic. Hello, Nikki. Anyway, so as I said, excuse number 2, you're waiting on the fairy tale. Ladies, I'm a lady, get it. We all want the fairy tale. We all want that guy who, kind of rides in on the white horse, the knight in shining armor, who comes and saves us from this life. We're the damsel in distress, and we want that man who's going to come in, he's going to be strong, he's going to take care of us, he's going to give us the love that we're looking for. Come on, of course we want that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you know what's unfortunate about that is that too many people are living in the fairy tale. They think that they're going to meet the guy, he's going to go down on bended knee, he's going to propose to them, and he's going to, sail off with them into the sunset. I mean, I don't know, raise of hands, I guess I would say, how many of us have ever had that experience? Tell me, if you've had the experience, share it. I want to hear it because maybe I'm not one of the lucky ones, but I've never experienced that, right? Nothing's wrong with wanting it, but the truth of the matter is, really, can you expect to have that guy who's going to do that? I believe that we should aim for what we want, go for the things that we want in this life. But how likely is it that a man's going to come riding on a white horse, and deliver that to us?
That's all Hollywood makeup garbage.
Disney, it's not garbage.
It is, because you know what? Why it's not garbage? Because in the real world, it doesn't exist. Nobody rides around a horse and do all that dancing in the church. Give me a headache. Look, we have to be real. And you see, that's the problem. People who live in this world, right, invest so much of their time mentally into the fairy tale world. And they get in trouble because the two doesn't compete, the two doesn't connect, right? You have to live in this world and understand that, sure, we can go to the movie theater and watch a good movie from Hollywood. We can watch a chick flick. We can watch an action movie, whatever, right? But we also keep in mind that we live in the real world, and stuff like that in this world don't happen, right? So
I don't know if I'm going to say it doesn't happen because
in the city, the guy's going to ride on a horse in the city. I'd like to see that. Okay,
listen, this is my thing when I say that, is that I believe that a woman can have her fairy tale. I do agree that chances are he's not going to just run up to you and say, oh my God, I want you to be my wife, and go down on bended knee and say, will you marry me? And then you ride off into the sunset, right? I completely agree with that, right? But I think what people think of as a fairy tale based on all the Disney movies and all the exposure to the Hollywood, as Bobby would say, chick flicks and everything, it's programming us to expect that things are going to happen perfectly, that guy is going to come and show up in your life in a relatively short period of time, that he's going to know that you're his wife, and that he's going to propose, and then you're going to live happily ever after, have the 2.5 kids, white picket fence, the whole family dynamic, everything. And ladies, to be honest, I mean, like I said, how many of you have really ever at any point had that kind of experience? Right? It really, honestly, it's slim to none. So if you're waiting on it, good luck.
That's why I said it doesn't exist. Listen, we all, like I said, we all, to some extent, the reason why we watch movie is it gets us out of our everyday life or everyday world. It helps us to disconnect from all the misery, the pain, and the harshness of life itself, right? So for guys, it's like to have these badass action movies so you can watch it and go, wow, that is cool, right? And for a woman, you can watch a chick flick and go, oh, that is so sweet. Oh, I wish that was me.
I still do that.
Oh, it's so sweet, right? And it creates this world that's completely different than the world that we live in, right? Mm-hmm. And there's have to be caution in how you view your life and the fairy tale world, right? You have to really understand that you see, here's the thing. People get this fairy tale life and meet a guy and then try to put the guy into the role of the prince or whatever.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Me
Now,
too.
if the guy turned out to be abusive, or the guy turned out to be a cheat, or all the things that you don't like, then what happens to that movie, right? And this is where I said you got to be careful when you're really starting to put people in certain categories because of what you want your fairy tale movie to look like, because you can get in trouble that way. The best thing to do is, like we always said over and over and over again, don't sweat it, just roll with it. Because when you sweat it, you expect too much, then you're setting yourself up to get disappointed or setting up yourself to be heartbroken. So the best thing to do is just go with it, just flow with it, you know what I mean? And have fun. Don't even think about all the other stuff because you know what? You're putting too much emphasis on a stranger and you don't even know how it's going to turn out.
Obviously, I agree with that. Ladies, fairy tale doesn't have to be at the beginning of your romance or your dating life or the meeting of this fellow. It can really happen as you go through the relationship. Remember this. We are all creators. And while you want it to happen a certain way at the very beginning, you have the ability throughout that relationship to get it the way you want, right? And again, in the Single Boss, I'll say some things that I may not say in front of Bobby, but the general gist of it is this, is that you can create that. If you want a guy who is, treats you a certain way, expect it from him. You have small ways that you can get him to, to be the way that you want him to be. I'll give an example. And Bobby may not want to admit it, but I remember when we first started dating, and I remember thinking, I want him to always hug me goodbye and kiss me goodbye when we're separating. And so as a result, I very consciously started doing that. Every time, he would leave and all that, I would do that intentionally, right? Because I wanted that to become our life. I wanted that we weren't like maybe some other couples who they would just leave and say goodbye and then they'll be back. And I wanted us to always connect before we left. And as a result, 13 years and we still do the same thing, right? That was a deliberate creation. That was something that I wanted to happen. And as you see, as you walk through your relationship, you can get it to be the way you want. But too many people want the fairy tale right off the bat. Like Bobby said, stop putting so much expectations on a stranger. He doesn't know you, and why would he just run up to you and say, I want to marry you? Then you know what? Then he's basing all his decisions about you on looks. Purely on he knows nothing. And that's what I don't understand. How we can want somebody who knows nothing about us to make such a commitment. And does it happen? There's some ladies out there who say, oh, I met my guy and in 1 month we were married. And well, yes, that happened. But you know what? Actually, interesting. I was in a Facebook group yesterday, and I was having a conversation with this gentleman, and he told me that he had been married 3 times. 3 times. And you know what he said? All 3 women cheated on him. That conversation between he and I is not over. But this is the thing. If he's been married 3 times and all 3 women cheated on him, of course he's going to blame the women. Oh, they're all cheaters. But why are you attracting all the cheaters, right? So what I'm sensing, and I'm pretty sure that I can predict this with accuracy, when I go back and ask him, how did you end up getting married? Did you propose rather early? All the rest of it. I think he'll say, yes, I asked them to marry me. I thought they were good women. I asked them to marry me. And as a result, they got married. Not everybody who wants to marry you is marriage worthy, right? Because he comes up and he says, will you be my wife? It doesn't mean that, oh, I'm going to be a great husband for life and things are going to be great. Sometimes what I notice is a lot of those guys who are willing to jump in and take it over and will you be my wife and let's live happily ever after are generally not the men you want to live happily ever after with anyway. Like I said, it's just this whole illusion that's created, again, by society, movies. We see it, it's plastered everywhere. So we believe that if he doesn't come in right away, wanting to give us that which we desire, that he's not worthy of our time. You know what's worthy of your time? Some guy who's willing to come, get to know you, spend the time getting to know you, and being real and true with you. That's the guy. That's the fairy tale guy, honestly. And I believe, I had a friend say to me years ago, oh, you shouldn't say anything because your relationship is like a fairy tale. I laughed at her. I thought, my relationship is like a fairy tale. Do you know that Bobby and I bicker and we argue and we go through stuff too? We absolutely do. But she sees my relationship as a fairy tale. Why? I said to Bobby, why would she see my relationship as a fairy tale? She's close to us. She knows that we go through stuff. But what was your answer to that?
I was thinking that I think that should come as a compliment because you know what? For somebody to say your fairy tale, your relationship is a fairy tale, then you have to be something. You have to be doing something good.
Right.
Because they could turn around and say your relationship is hell or your relationship is garbage, right? Then you know they're saying that there's nothing good about that relationship. Why they say it's garbage? But when they say the relationship is good, remember, fairy tale is something positive. It's not something negative, right? So when somebody says the relationship is like a fairy tale, it should be taken as a compliment because they see this relationship that good, that perfect. Because remember, a fairy tale is perfect, right? So if they see the relationship that good, that perfect, to come out and say it's like a fairy tale, it could be even seen as, condescending in the same breath. But at the same time, though, it's like if they don't have no good relationship to judge it by, then our relationship is going to seem like a fairy tale compared to maybe compared to all the ugly ones that they've seen. Because remember, they're taking it from their perspective, what they've seen. So if they've seen a lot of abusive and terrible relationship, and they see ours, of course ours is going to seem like a fairy tale because it's not like that, right? So at the end of the day, I kind of see it as, that's kind of a compliment, because for them to say that, then that's being something where we're doing something right. For them to say that, because people don't really come up and say that unless it's one of two things. Maybe it's jealousy. Maybe she's jealous because maybe she don't have none. She's just coming out and say that, right? It could be, it could be very well like it's a good relationship that they can see it that way.
I believe it was a compliment on her part for sure. But what I really wanted from you was why, well, I guess you explained why she sees it as a fairy tale. And for me, I guess a lot of times when us women think of fairy tales, we think in terms of, like I said, the white horse, the knight in shining armor. And I often refer to Bobby as my knight in shining armor. Why? Because no matter what trials and tribulations we go through, I love him a lot and he's been great. I really think that we need to redefine what a fairy tale is in the context of relationships, right? Fairy tales need to be seen as that man who is there for you, by your side, supporting you, listening to you, even if he doesn't come writing in the way that you want him to, and he doesn't do it immediately. If he's there and he's sticking with you and he's willing to see you through your life and whatever it is that you're going through and be by your side, isn't that what we ultimately want? I mean, if the guy rides in on a white horse and everything and he proposes, but then he's gone in a few months or in a year or something, then what's the point of the fairy tale? Right? What's the point of that fairy tale? It's just the expectation that it's supposed to go a certain way. But remember, we all live separate lives, and that no two people's stories are exactly alike, right? So for me, while I don't see my relationship as a fairy tale, I know that I found someone that I love deeply and someone who is there with me. And to be honest, if I had to, rate my relationship, on a scale of 1 to 100, I would give it a 92, 94. Why? Because I have what I need. You understand? As you notice, he's always here with me on these lives. We do so much together. We share everything. I honestly, to be honest with you, is there anything that I would like for him to do different? I think we all would like maybe some other, little tweaks from our partners, but I have what I need. I don't have to worry, is Bobby going to be home tonight? I know he will be. You understand? Do I know that I have his support in anything I do? 1,000,000%. If I were to go, if I were to fall from a building, I totally believe he would be there to catch me if I fall. And that's been demonstrated a lot throughout the time that we've been together. So this is something that we've been doing over time. It's not it's not what everybody else expects, but it's what's real for me. I remember to me, he has been my knight, because I don't know if you remember years ago when my children and I were headed to, I was dropping, I forget where my daughter was going to something. I don't know if I think it was their Aunt Simone's house or something like that. But anyway, we were driving and it was slippery, right? It was snowing and I was driving my little car. And I remember I was so afraid of hitting in the car in front of me that I went into a snowbank and I got stuck on the snowbank. And I called Bobby, and this was maybe about a year or something in our relationship. And what happened? Like, he came and he drove over to me and my kids, and to me he rescued us from the snowbank. And then then he said, okay, take your time and crawl and follow me home. So I had to crawl behind him, and he was making sure me and the kids were okay. And so many other stories I can tell you when I needed someone that he came running. It didn't matter where he was or what he was doing. He always came running for me and my two little munchkins, always there. To me, that's what a fairy tale is, that person who is by your side. So we have to, like you said, Nikki, thanks for the redefining the fairy tale is, what really is a fairy tale, and stop expecting a fairy tale from day one, right? If that's what you're waiting on to decide whether you're going to date someone or not, good luck. Honestly, hold your breath right now and give up on it, because there's probably a 1% chance, or okay, maybe a 2% chance that he's gonna come riding in, and saving you from all the things that you think that you should have, or from saving you from this life and living something beautiful with him. You guys, honestly, you can't begin to understand. I was like alone for a lot of years, and I struggled, for a long time in relationships, and I really decided to change my point of view. And I have to say, while Bobby and I run the Relationship Builder, was created on the premise that I really wanted people to start to rebuild how they look, or reframe how they looked at relationships. And while, the Relationship Builder is something that I wanted to design, and now, we have eLifestyle, which is our dating site for entrepreneurs and business executives. But the whole purpose of the Relationship Builder system, which Bobby really helped me design, is to really reframe people in their thinking about relationships. They think that everything is supposed to be perfect, and if it's not, I'm going to run. Run. How can you get a good relationship is built over time. It's not handed to you on a silver platter. And like what Nikki's saying about maybe the expectations drive men away. Yeah, because they don't know you, and you want, oh my God, to marry him on date number 1 or date number 2. We're talking about marriage and kids, and it's like, whoa, honey, I don't know you. So where are we going with this? Of course, there's men out there who are going to do the same. They're going to want you as their wife almost immediately. And I can tell you this, I can almost guarantee, you marry that guy who wants you almost immediately, he's desperate and he's needy. He wants a wife. That's all he wants. He doesn't know anything about you, but he wants a wife. So if it can be you, great. If it's not, he'll talk to the girl down the street who'll give him the time of day. Right?
Like, what? Everybody wants the title. You know what I mean? And that's what it is at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. To have the ring in the finger and the title, right? But let me tell you something. A lot of people out there aren't marriage material, right? Mm-hmm. And you got to stop fooling yourself and thinking that you are marriage material because you're a woman and your friend get married and this girl get married, so why shouldn't I? These are all the worst reasons why you shouldn't get that deep. And so many people make that mistake. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And leading with the foot that marriage first before above everything else, and then end up going through hell. And the people that I find is a joke is the people that have been married and divorced 2 or 3 times and still going back for more. Like, what the hell do you expect? Do you expect now after you've been through that, now this is going to work? And like, it was a thing that Earl Nightingale said a while back about the woman was on her 5th marriage. And she said she can't believe that after all these years, she's finally going to find happiness. And I'm thinking, how many times have she said that before?
Right.
And with some people, if you have a loony for every time they say something, right, you'd be a millionaire. You would make Warren Buffett look like a pauper because you'd be so rich. Because people talk a lot of garbage and they don't believe it, they don't back it up, they say it because it sounds good. And because we live in a society that you have to be politically correct, a lot of people try to be politically correct and miss the point. You know what I mean? And sometimes the point even gets phased out because you're trying to cover it up so much that the real essence and the real PowerPoints of the message get lost in the try to make it sound easy so it can be digested mentally. And me personally, I don't like telling people something and try to candy code it, because that's just not me. To me, it just feels like a load of crap, right? So for me, I like to give them it real and hardcore, because you know what? It's good when you can send the message home in such a hard-hitting way that it hits people so hard that they have to take a step back and really take it, because it's not one of those fairy tale, fly by night, cherry on top, sweet with nothings, all that kind of garbage. It's just real in your face. And sometimes there's people that can't take it because for whatever reason they can't really take the ugly, honest truth. And the truth is ugly and honest. That's why people don't like it. Because if the truth had come in dressed up pretty, you know what I mean, probably more people would tell the truth. But because it's so ugly and it hits home, and it hits home hard, a lot of people can't deal with the truth, and the truth become more of an offense than it is to rescue what you really think that is there to rescue, right? And We live in a society where people run from that all the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? They run from explaining who they really are, and nobody wants to come out and say something. But they said it's all fun and games until somebody get hurt. And then when somebody get hurt, that's what something needs to get done now. You see how politicians do it all the time. Nothing gets done until somebody get hurt. And in a relationship, people don't really have to. But the reason why people get hurt is yes, people are living their fairy tale, right? And when the reality come crashing down,
Mm-hmm.
then they're heartbroken, and then they get bitter and mad at dogs and mad at all kind of garbage, and they can burn in hell as far as you're concerned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And why should the man burn in hell? Because you're the one who played your own movie and didn't even let him know that he's playing a role in your movie. Now he's the bad guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You got to send people a memo. Let them know what's going on. I'm in your movie. Okay, what kind of role I'm playing? I'm playing a princess, or am I playing the jerk or the bad guy, right? And then we can really have an idea of what's going on. But people create their own movie, which is their own fairy tale. They put in a complete stranger who they don't know and expect them to play their role. They expect the way they want to. Listen, if you're making your own movie, you can make it exactly the way you want to. You can have the guy be the guy that you're looking for, and the girl be that nice girl, and all of that. The end of the day is these are not paid actors, right? They're people that come in your life for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Do not expect them to play your role, because that's why there's so many disappointments. That's why so many marriages gone to hell, because people are putting up a fairy tale spin on a horror movie. And the truth of the matter is, listen, you have all the time in the world to make whatever decision that is, right? But you always have to understand this as well. You lead a path, and that path has a trail. A lot of people don't see the trail that leads them to where they are right now. And sometimes the trail is a true definition and the true meaning and the true purpose of you as a person. Mm-hmm. What you have been doing all this time that led you where you are now, right? Mm-hmm. And all the failed marriages, and they still don't learn anything. And like we said, because you're auto-directed, it's always on that person. Mm-hmm. And because of that, your bad habits and your bad behavior go unnoticed, and it goes unnoticed to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And like I say, for everybody that's in a relationship, there's one thing that's been said through all the relationships that you are in up to this point. And because most of us ain't paying attention, we don't know that there's something that's been said, and it's been shouted out loud over time from relationship to relationship. But because you're busy blaming that person, you fail to see that sign. And that's what's killing a lot of relationships for a lot of people moving forward.
Right. So, Bobby's, I guess in a nutshell saying, we all, as we are going to continue to say, we all have to look in the mirror, right? We want the fairy tale, but how are we contributing to that, or where do we play our role to be responsible? If you want the fairy tale, then you know what? If you set such a high expectation, you have to understand that you got to be willing to play at a very high level. And some people think that it's just based on their actions all the time, but it's also based on, again, like we talked about on Friday when we talked about, we talked about energy last week. Influencer number 5 from last week, your energy equals your vibe, right? What are you bringing into this relationship? And if you're expecting Prince Charming, then are you being, Marian or whoever they say she is, right? Are you being that person that's going to bring out Prince Charming? You have to understand, he doesn't just come in, he has to play perfectly regardless of how you feel. You're responding to him, he's responding to you, but don't keep on expecting him to deliver first and then you'll respond. Be your best you at all times. And that means even things from the past, we have to resolve them. I've been through some stuff and I've had to resolve them to get where I'm at. If I didn't, I can't say he and I would be together today, right? But I had to take accountability. And a lot of times, through when we were first starting to date, I remember he would tell me, it's like, what's the thing? I was tense, I was worried, I was so scared all the time. And he recognized that and would say, just gotta trust, just take it easy, girl, and trust.
You know what? The thing I notice is this: like a lot of people, and you mentioned it, a lot of people go into relationships like this. Mm-hmm. And what we noticed, and hearing it from you, a lot of them are women. They go into a relationship.
There's men that go into it like that.
I'm just telling you what I've heard back from you.
Okay, but I don't talk about that.
I'm not saying it's like that, but I'm just saying based on some of the things I hear, right? And what I mean by that is, I show up, and you must do cartwheels, run around, pay for the date, treat me like a lady, open the chairs, whatever. But then I'll pay for the date, but you to run around and do everything else. Open the door, pull out the chairs. I don't want to pay for my food because I don't want you to expect anything because I'm not giving anything. But I want you to be nice to me and tell me how pretty I look and tell me, oh my God, I'm your dream girl. And you want to marry me in a few months. And you want to wine and dine me and treat me like a princess. but you're not gonna take me home because I'm gonna make sure I have my own car. So you can't drive me
Oh,
home.
I see where you're going with
And
that.
you're gonna call me and see if I'll get home safely. And how much you want to date and how pretty I was last night. And you can't forget how good you smell and how good your hair look. And all of this, yakety. And sweetheart, what are you giving back in return?
Right.
No, I'm just showing up. That's it.
You know, we have to remember, if we want the fairy tale, we got to be a part of that. That means that we have a role to play. If we want Prince Charming, we're going to have to be a princess. So don't forget that, you know, we often look out at him, but we have, you know, lights, camera, action. Play your role too, so you can get what you want. But remember, again, you know, influencer number 5, your energy equals your vibe. So that's huge. Honestly, it's probably more important than what you're doing in that moment. Like, but you're bringing your energy to the day. Right, folks? So, I mean, again, I could stay here and talk all day long, but we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to Dating Dilemmas, Day 13, excuse number 2. You expect the fairy tale. Yeah, just let me say something, sorry. Just remember again that we are going to be doing our Customize Your Love Life series starting the first week of July. We're definitely excited to be addressing some, you know, love and relationship issues, you know, on a different platform, and really getting people more. We definitely want to see people much more engaged in the conversation. We'd love your personal scenarios, see if we can answer your questions, really help you to resolve some things if we can do that for you on the spot. You know, our goal really here is to really help people, guide people. Bobby is, you know, my other half, and his goal really to come in me supporting people, and, you know, for coaching those that that I'm doing business with, and all of that, to really show the male perspective. So he'll be there to really add value, to help answer your questions, to do all those things. And again, you know, with all the programs and everything else we're doing, you'll have an opportunity, you know, to work with us more personally and really to get your hands on in solutions in your own love and dating life. So folks, again, thank you so much for tuning in today, and join us again, same time, same place. We'll see you tomorrow, and bye for now.